to the Elite Life Podcast with your hosts, Trisha and Kylie. Here, we guide you on a journey of personal and professional transformation, revealing the secrets to success. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, join us as we unlock the doors to the elite world of growth, grit, and grace. So, let's dive in.
Hey, friends. I'm so excited you joined us today on another episode of The Elite Life. I'm Kylie. With me is Trish. And today we have a very special episode full of inspiration, fire, and great information. I just know every person listening is going to feel ready to take on the world after they finish this episode.
Yes, I'm so excited about our guest too. She is a super mom who balances all the things from homeschooling to zookeeping, coaching, and somehow she even makes time to run 200.
Stop it.
Seriously, 200 marathons. Welcome our fabulous guest, Stephanie Northway.
Yay!
Hi. So I'm excited to share a little bit about me and my life. Always an adventure here, sometimes chaotic adventure and busy, but hey, it's always a good adventure. So yeah, I got lots of fun stuff, and you may hear like baby Charlotte popping in every now and then to say hi too. So
that's all good. We are out of the stage at my house with babies popping up, but we have puppies pop up all the time.
Yes.
So.
Ollie and Billy have made frequent appearances on the Elite Life podcast for sure.
Yeah, but I'm so excited you said yes to
every now and then, like my dog may pop in too. We got you guys said, there's a whole zoo over here.
Well, you are a zookeeper, so you definitely should have that zoo. But I'm excited to hear some of your nuggets of knowledge on how to be an all-around rock star and balance all the things. I know that Kylie's pumped to listen to. So
absolutely.
Give our listeners a little background. Like, tell us a bit about where you came from, growing up. What did life look like for you?
Yeah, so let's see a little bit about me. We have, oh gosh, I'll try to keep this as brief as possible, but I tend to talk a lot, so like bear with me here. I played all kinds of sports growing up, so like from t-ball, softball, basketball, bowling, you name it, I did it, like a little bit of everything.
Nice.
I've always worked with kids. I started working with kids at a young age as far as like babysitting. Started off babysitting, then I went on to get my associates in child development, kind of kept going, got a bachelor's in special education and my teaching certification. And I've worked with kids like babysitting, coaching, being a nanny, daycare, teacher, like you name it. I've done like a little bit of everything. But I've always like running. Okay, so like let's back to sports too. I ran cross country and track, and that was a big part of my life was running and bowling. Those are probably two like the major sports for me. I ran cross country and track, like I said, when I was younger, and I kind of shied away from running for a little bit after my dad had died. I kind of just got lost interest in the hobby, more or less. Like I lost a lot of interest in like other hobbies and stuff that I did. So. Yeah. Kind of got that back when my son was about 2 years old. I started running again and decided like I'd always wanted to be a marathon runner. So that's when I decided to start training for a marathon when my son was a little over 2 years old. And my dog needed to lose weight. And it was just kind of a funny story because, you know, when kids are younger and, you know, the dog, they're sitting in their high chair and, you know, the dog, they start to feed the dog and then she got overweight and you know how that goes. So
yeah.
I started running and I started running marathons October of 2015, and it's crazy. It's been 8 years now, and my son is almost 11, so it's just like crazy to see like how time has just kind of flown by. And then let's see what else. So then another hobby I had when I was younger was like a passion of mine for animals, and it's like you think like weird animals, like the creepy crawlies that people don't necessarily love, but it was one thing I was kind of always interested in. So I was the kid, you know, like finding the roly-polies, like the little millipedes and stuff like that. And I had like all kinds of animals growing up. So cats, dogs, guinea pigs, rats, mice, you name it, I had it. And it was just like a little bit of everything. And then I kind of lost like touch with that hobby as well up until recently. And with homeschooling, I kind of decided, well, like, hey, like this could be a good lesson. So let's start like zookeeping. And then I kind of turned that into a business where we do like shows and classes with the animals. So we kind of show them like, and my son is kind of like the assistant now that he's older. I was like, yo, you can help out with this. So we did like a birthday party for a boy that just turned 7 years old. We brought like some animals with us at a park and kind of like just talked about the animals. I've done virtual field trips and stuff. So kind of turned like the zookeeping hobby into like a business, which that's been a lot of fun too. So nowadays I have bearded dragon, snakes, tarantulas.
Ooh.
You can kind of see some stuff in the background.
Yeah.
Of me talking. We have frogs, geckos, guinea pig, like the giant millipedes. So
Ooh.
yeah.
I love this. I was going to say, I seen like you're talking about you started back to running when your son was 2, and I just wanted to kind of like circle back to that because I'm training for a marathon right now, and like I said, I'm out of the season of having kids to really like run around after, but my 2 marathon partners do, and I always think it's really inspiring because like I seen you were running like while you were pregnant, like the last marathon you ran, like the baby was in the stroller and you ran with the baby the whole marathon. So I love like what you're saying where you bring your kids along for the adventure. It's not, I have to take time away from them. You figure out how to integrate them, but then you also like have this time and space for yourself too.
Yeah. So that's a one thing. I wanted to make sure like I kind of work around like their schedule and, you know, so like with my son, it was a little different because he was 2 years old when I started running again. I still breastfeeding, but it wasn't breastfeeding nearly as much because he was older. So it was a little bit easier. Okay, I'm going to go for a run at 5 a.m. He's still sleeping. I got 3 hours until he wakes up. So then I'm going to just go off and go for a run like that. With Charlotte, because she's 15 and a half months old right now, I've kind of just worked around her schedule. So because like at this point, like my kids are 9.5 years apart. So I had already been running for obviously quite some time when I was pregnant. So just kind of like pregnancy, I kind of went by feel. Like as you get further along, it's like, okay, this is really uncomfortable. Like I can't do the mileage I was doing before. I can't do the speed. Not that I'm that fast anyway, but yeah, and then let's see, when she was a newborn, I kind of just went by, okay, well here, I'm going to feed her, put her in the stroller, we'll go for a walk or run. If she's ready to eat sooner, then we'll cut the run or walk shorter, or we'll just stop and I'll feed her and then keep going, or maybe like, so let's say I feed her and then maybe she wasn't ready to go yet because then she just woke up because babies are unpredictable, then just kind of work around like that. So just whatever, make it work. Or like what I did a lot during the pandemic was like walk. I mean, and then I could probably describe this in more detail later on, but I'd walk laps around my house as a way to get like exercise, or like walk laps in the backyard. And my backyard is super tiny, but anyways, so that's another thing that I would do is like, you know, you hold the baby, just walk laps up and down your house, and you kind of just make it work like that. So just kind of all about being like flexible and knowing that you don't have to stick to like a certain plan in order to get like what you want done.
I love that so much because my son is 2, and one of my biggest struggles and things that, Trisha heard a lot in the beginning of my journey of coming along in like personal development and starting my own business was, how am I going to do all of these things with my kids? And it's so inspiring to meet other moms who are able to, live your dreams. I love that you're doing the running again. You do it with the kids, you've got the animals and the creepy crawlers, and you kind of incorporate everything together. And I love what you said about not having to stick to a schedule. Do you find that like really chaotic, or how do you make it to where you say, okay, for example, I've got all these, I've got these 25 things that need to be done, but this wrench was thrown in because this kid had a fever, or this one, has a project due. Like, what is one of your go-tos when you get thrown off of things that you wanted to get done? How do you pack it all in?
So what I would do is like figure out what is the most important thing that needs to be done. Like, what's the most pressing thing that needs to be done like right now? And then you go like, okay, so let's say with homeschooling, like it's more important for here, my son needs to do this, this, and this. Okay, well, let's do this first. And then let's say, okay, like as far as like work stuff, I need to call these 5 students right now. So I'm going to call these 5 students, and maybe like I had a run planned or a walk planned or something for the day. Then maybe I'll say, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to have to skip it for today. I'll just do something else, like maybe a workout video or something like that. So we'll just make it work like that. But it's all about, figuring out what's the most important thing that needs to be done. And then you do that. So I guess I could say probably like my laundry, folding the clothes and putting them away kind of goes to the back burner. I say like I get it done and then put it away in like 7 to 10 business days.
Oh my God.
There we go.
Oh man.
That goes a little like off to the wayside sometimes. So
we live out of baskets at my house, and I constantly tell Trisha, like, this is a deep hurdle for my husband Ryan and I, because I have zero problems like getting the laundry into the washer, getting it into the dryer. I don't mind folding laundry. I find it very cathartic. And then when it comes to putting it away, like taking the 10 steps to the dresser to put it away, I'm just like, I don't have time for this. I'll do it later.
That's us. Like I get it folded and then it stays in like this nice pile, like off to like where I'm pointing right now. It'll stay like it's all stacked up in like nice, neat piles. It's categorized. And does it get put away? No, usually not, because that's usually like I kind of prioritize that as like the bottom of the list. Like,
yes.
I'll get the important stuff, like the schooling and the work stuff done, and then usually like the laundry kind of just goes to the wayside. But
now, do you have some like non-negotiables? Like, is there like this is a typical day in the life? I wake up at this time, I journal. Like, do you have like specific routines, or what does that kind of look like for you?
I try to get up probably like 7-ish, 7:30, and try to get like kind of get up then. And then usually like as far as like workout stuff goes, I will like one of my favorite workouts is like something super simple is I just like I walk up and down the stairs, kind of do like laps up and down the stairs like that. And that's probably one of my favorite workouts to do is just like walking up and down the stairs. Do like anywhere from 10, depending on how much time I have, anywhere from like 10 to 50 flights of stairs, just going up and down like that. And that's like actually one of my favorite workouts that I've done as far as like training for marathons and training for ultras. I started doing like flights of stairs like that. And that's been one of my favorite workouts. So that's something that I do in the morning, or when I'm waiting for like Charlotte to wake up, I'll do just kind of like either like the staircase workout, like I said, or like just kind of like walk up and down the hallway just like that, as far as like just getting some like steps in. So that's kind of been my go-to training. And that's been my like go-to training even when my son was younger too, like flights of stairs or just like walking up and down the hallway.
I love that. So what I'm really curious to know, because Trisha is a runner. I run for my life and free food. That's about it. And not all free food either. It's got to be tacos, pizza, cake, something like that, right? Have you ever seen me like really, really run?
No.
Not ever.
No.
So when Trisha was telling me that she found you, and she's like, she did 200 marathons. And I'm like, I remember when you did your 52 and 52.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was amazing. And she's putting you to shame here.
I know. And I think that's when her mom connected me with her, was when I was doing my 52 and 52. And my last thing was going to be a marathon. And I believe that you were pregnant and had ran a marathon with a human in you. And I was like, I'm weak, yo. Like,
so what did that look like?
Like it connected me. That's right. That was it during the pregnancy. So I wanted to do at least one marathon while pregnant, and I did it when I wasn't as far along, because I remember like when I was pregnant with my son, like as I got further along, I gained weight in only one area, and I end up getting like super uncomfortable. So I was like, well, I'll do a marathon while pregnant, and then I did a half marathon while pregnant. So it was, oh man, I did 17 weeks along with the marathon, and then I was almost 30 weeks along with the half marathon.
That's
and I know
amazing.
there's other runners that I know have done like more while pregnant, and I'm just like, how do you? I don't know. Even though I've done a lot, it's just like, it was a lot just to do that for me. But
It's a testament to the human spirit and the female body, honestly. I mean,
for sure.
You see all these women on TikTok and Instagram and stuff, and they're just like being pregnant, like no problem, lifting weights, doing the things, doing CrossFit, flipping tires, and you have, the rest of the world saying, oh, you need to sit down and you can't do anything. It's like, no, it's like, this is what we were built to do. And I think it's absolutely amazing that you could be so active while you're growing a human, which is a very big job. I've done it 3 times. It's exhausting.
Yeah, it is. And you can do, and that's what I thought. Like, I realized I wasn't running marathons at the time when I was pregnant with my son. But I was still like walking and stuff like on a daily basis. And that's what I did while pregnant with Charlotte. I was walking or going for a run every day, or like I did the marathon, I did the half marathon. I did a couple other like shorter races, like a 10K and stuff. The 10K I did was actually when I was 37, almost 37 weeks pregnant. So
holy smokes.
That was that one was tough because it was like, okay, you have 3 weeks to go. It was, yeah, wow. But
I could not imagine. I just remember when Everett was in my belly and it was like a baby elephant because he was so huge. I could barely go from the living room to the kitchen, and I'm like, no, someone bring me the rolling computer chair because I can't make it back to the couch. Like, it was a hot mess. So that's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I was like all belly, all out front. It was like, I felt like it looked like I just had put a giant watermelon up my shirt, and that's it. Like, it looks so goofy both times.
So tell us more about your coaching adventures and what got you into it and what keeps you going.
So coaching, like I said before, I ran cross country and track. I had heard, let's see, from a friend on Facebook, I think, that East Grand Rapids was in need of another middle school coach for track. So I did coach track, but I just coach cross country now. And I reached out to the athletic director for East Grand Rapids, and like they were looking for a new middle school cross country and track coach. So I kind of reached out, and then I had talked to them, and it was like, oh, well, okay, like the position's available. And then I started coaching for East Grand Rapids, and COVID kind of put a damper on that the first year when sports were canceled. But then I started coaching, and I've been coaching with them for 3 years now. I did not coach last year with a newborn baby. I thought that might be a little difficult with brand new 2-month-old baby trying to coach. I was like, I don't know. That could be a little interesting, but I'd wanted to coach to kind of give back to other runners and to show them kind of like their abilities, like that they can achieve anything. They can work hard and like get like, and you can see like, I'll describe this, but like, yeah. You can achieve anything that you want. You can work hard to get your goals, any goals that you set for yourself. It is doable. And it's nice to like work with kids and like see the progression as like the season goes on, and to see like how they go from like one area and then like how they keep improving as time goes on and stuff. So, and I like to give back to other people. And that's kind of why I like working with kids too, as far as like teaching and stuff goes. I like to give back and help other people. And it's nice to see like my passion for running and my love for running to kind of like show them what I can do, and then to see like their passion and their love for the sport come alive too. And it's nice, like in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, it can be a tough age, and it's good to have somebody there to like help to show them that like, I don't know, like you can connect with them and understand them, and then you can kind of build like that positive relationship with them too. And so I started coaching 3 years ago, and some of the kids I have now that were 8th graders are now 11th graders, and it just seems like totally crazy. And so now there's a funny story about coaching. So it all started like 3 years ago when I started. One of the 6th graders at the time had done a science project about, I don't even know exactly. I don't remember the whole area, but it was with a space pickle named Fernando. Pickle? Yes. And she had made this joke that, oh, you need to get this as a tattoo and stuff. And I was like, oh, yeah, maybe I'll get this as a tattoo. Yeah, sure. Okay. And then 2 years ago, I said, okay, well, if you guys win the Sparta Invitational, if the girls team wins, I promise you I will get this space pickle tattoo. Well, guess what? They won.
Yes.
She was like, you promised me that you would get this tattoo. And I'm like, well, you know what? I stay true to my word. I promise. Yeah, you know what? Yes, I did. I did promise I'll get the space pickle tattoo. Well, pregnancy, obviously shouldn't get a tattoo while pregnant. So, and here we are 2 years later. And last week I got the space pickle tattoo. So
just last week? That is awesome.
And like bright and proud on your arm, so they all get to see it and be inspired.
Where she used to draw it like as a joke, like it's Fernando the space pickle. And yes, I got the space pickle tattoo.
That is so amazing. That is so amazing because you know what? I love what you said about impacting young lives and making sure that they understand that they can do what they set their minds to. And that is a permanent thing. And I love that you held up your end of the bargain because I think most adults would probably be like, oh, no, I was just kidding. Like, no way. But like they held up their end, you held up your end. And so you're showing them and being the example of, we make promises, we keep promises. We say we're going to do something, and we do it. And now you have this really amazing conversation piece walking around on your arm where you can open up more conversations about what you do, what your passion is, how you help people, because I am sure that people ask you about that, or they will. It's still pretty fresh.
Hey, because a lot of my tattoos have that, like, the conversation piece, like, oh, so what does that mean? Like, I got one for the 100-mile race, like my very first 100-mile race that I did. I got a tattoo of like the belt buckle.
Awesome.
And then so it's like a good conversation, like, oh, hey, you got this? And yeah, like staying true to your word. And it's a good thing to show, like, okay, if I said I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I say I did something, I did it. If I promise something, I will keep my promise. And that's like true to my word with a lot of stuff. Like, I'm a very honest person. And yeah, if I said I did something, I did. If I said I'm going to do something, I will do it eventually. Obviously, pregnancy got in the way of the tattoo, but I eventually kept the promise and got it. So, yeah, it is good to show kids that, like, hey, I kept my word, and here. And I showed it to her, and she loved it, and she was like super excited. So
she will never forget that. Those kids will never forget that. As old as they get, they're going to come to their class reunion and be like, remember when she got the tattoo?
Coach Stephanie got a space pickle tattoo. Yep, I did.
Right, and I'm over here like, what's a space pickle? And it doesn't matter. It's amazing. I love it so much. I've been trying to find excuses to get my next tattoo.
I'm not 100% sure I totally understand the space pickle, but it looks Fernando has got the hat and everything. Like, it was cool. But yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. So one thing I did want to ask you about is homeschooling because I'm struggling with this right now. My kids go to an amazing school. It's a Montessori school, so it's not your traditional sit at a desk, learn things. I've got a 9-year-old diva, and she's basically a third parent, right? And then my second daughter is the feral one, as many, second children are. So I wanted to know, like, what brought you to the decision of doing the homeschooling, and what should I and other parents who are thinking about it also take into consideration? She's doing your hair.
With the COVID, basically when COVID had kind of shut down schools and everything, and I'd always considered it. I was teaching in person up until 3.5 years ago. And when COVID shut the schools down, I had been thinking about homeschooling for a while, and it's something I really enjoy doing because I was a stay-at-home mom and nanny with my son until he was 3.5. So it was something that, like, okay, well, I kind of did a little bit of homeschooling as far as like preschool stuff up until that point.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I kind of want to do homeschooling, so like let's just give it a go. And it turned out like it worked really well. I have experience with like curriculum and kind of writing my own stuff, and it was just like, okay, well, like here we're committed, we're gonna do it. And then I ended up leaving my in-person job and found an online teaching job that was just like 100% online work from home. So then I do that. It's got a nice like flexible schedule. And hi. She's like, hey, I want to talk too. It's got like my online job has a nice flexible schedule, so it works around with like homeschooling and stuff like that. And as far as homeschooling goes, I feel like anybody is capable of doing it, and it's easier than people think. Like, especially to find resources. There's online stuff. There's online programs that you can do. There's like monthly subscriptions to different online programs. There's endless amounts of like curriculum books that you can use, especially like you can go on Amazon and just type in like 6th grade curriculum and you can find almost anything. Like
Nice.
6th grade curriculum, you can find math, like science, social studies, anything, you name it. There's like a lot of free resources online. There's Facebook groups that you can join that help like, okay, well here I'm looking for like help with this. And there's a lot of all over the state, there's a lot of different homeschooling like co-ops, there's programs, there's like so many things that you could do like with homeschooling. So like my son, for an example, he does the West Michigan Homeschool Fine Arts program, and he does band, choir, he does jazz band, he does
Nice.
handbells. So like there's so much that like there's the offer. And what I like is like the flexibility of it, because we can work like spend a few hours here and there. We can go on like field trips, and we can go to like museums, and we go on tours of places like cider mills, apple orchards. We went to the recycling center, and it's cool. Like we can go on like all kinds of different field trips, and it's not as crowded, and we kind of have like the place to ourselves. So that's what I like. And yeah, I like the freedom and like flexibility of it. So it's nice, and you kind of like work around what you need to do. So that's something I would say like it's definitely doable.
Awesome.
We're going to pause for a quick break so we can swap some things around, but make sure you come back because we still have lots of amazing questions to ask Stephanie.
Did you know that over 80% of real estate agents call it quits within their first year in the business? It's a staggering statistic. But at mystarsacademy.com, we're here to change that narrative. Our expert-based training and coaching program caters to both agents and brokers. The Agent Accelerator program is your key to leveling up your real estate business. Learn how to generate a constant flow of free leads, convert those leads into loyal clients, and keep them coming back for more as repeat business. Our industry experts bring years of proven success to the table and provide one-on-one coaching to help you achieve structure and work-life balance. We'll map out a plan for you to follow, guiding you through the steps to scale and grow both in your business and personal life. Don't become another statistic. Visit mystarsacademy.com and enroll today to pave the way for your future success.
And we are back, friends. We are interviewing the super amazing Stephanie Northway. She is sharing some wonderful resources and tips for all you other super moms out there on how to take care of yourself, take care of your kids, take care of all the things, and not lose your mind in the process.
Yeah, that's my main goal every single day. Stay out of prison. Don't burn the house down.
Yeah, and she was just sharing a lot of her homeschooling adventures. And I want to hear about your science experiments because I loved science as a kid. So I want to hear about the science experiences, and we want to see some of the zoo.
Yeah.
Yes. So we almost had a zoo accident because Charlotte actually tried to grab one of the tarantula cages that could have ended really badly. Wow. Yeah. So, but as far as science, like my son loves science. We have, oh my gosh, we do like all kinds of cool science experiments. We buy like science kits. So, for an example, I'm looking at one right now. We have like the electric circuit, like the circuit board,
Yeah.
and you kind of like it, you open it up, there's like a booklet that's involved, and you can make like different circuits of all kinds of like different, like, okay, so one that you can turn on like two light bulbs, one you can make like different sounds and stuff like that. So we like to do those. We have kind of like a live periodic table that you can connect like different atoms and like make different molecules.
Ooh.
Like just they're like big pieces. They're pretty cool. We do lots of experiments like the volcanoes, like baking soda and vinegar. We've made slime. We've done like the elephant toothpaste.
Ooh.
We've done like, oh, let's see, what else? I love the volcano experiments. Those are a lot of fun. But like the elephant toothpaste, I'm trying to think what that was. It was like the yeast. It was
hydrogen peroxide,
all right. Harry says yeast, hydrogen peroxide, food coloring. What else?
and so
And soap.
Nice.
That's a good one. It didn't like some of the YouTube videos we saw were like pretty like robust and had like these huge explosions of the elephant toothpaste. Ours wasn't as cool, but it was still pretty cool.
Nice.
Let's see. What other like science experiments have we done? Oh, mixing like acids and bases and like the way like the pH level, the way it changes colors. We've done those experiments. Let's see what else.
acids are red, basics are blue.
And Harry's like kind of giving some commentary here.
I love it. Well, you definitely sound like the fun mom. Like that's
Yeah.
I'm like, man, this sounds like so much fun. So tell us like, okay, tips for other people who are trying to do all of the things and be, a great mom and wife and encourager and run and work and teach and keep smiling. Like you are making it look so super easy. So how do you make it look so easy?
Because
we know it's hard.
I feel like
We know. Yes.
days it doesn't feel easy, but then other days it's like, okay, well, I got this. But I guess probably because of my background with teaching and working with kids and a background that I have with running and stuff like growing up and kind of my like go with the flow type attitude I have, like, okay, well, we'll prioritize like, yeah, what's most important to get done today. If we don't get certain things done, I go back to the laundry situation, not the end of the world. But I guess like not being so hard on yourself, and that's something that I work on a lot, is trying not to be like super hard on myself if I don't get every single thing I need to get done. Another thing, like to not overthink. It's something I work on too, because I tend to overthink. It's like, oh, well, if I didn't get every single thing I wanted done today, then like, man, I'm doing a terrible job. But I guess like trying not to overthink, because that's one thing that I tend to do too. So like prioritizing what's most important to get done, not overthinking and not being hard on yourself. It's something that like I said, I still work on that, but I think those are probably like the most important things.
It sounds like the more flexible you can be, the easier things are going to be for you, right?
Yeah.
Do you have certain tools that you use that keep you organized? Like are you a pen and paper gal? Are you a Google Calendar? Do you have things that you use, or not so much? You just kind of keep it flexy?
I save stuff on a Google Calendar. Do I always like pay close attention to it? Not quite, but Samsung Notes on my phone is how I kind of like, I was like jot things down like that, or your trusty old notebook paper is kind of how I keep track of stuff. Or I have a pretty good memory, like just kind of like keep things in my head. But should I write stuff down more? Probably.
What advice would you give, especially like, I feel like runners have a certain mentality that is kind of different from normal humans in that like we go do like really hard things and people are like, why are you putting yourself through that? Like, especially you doing 100-mile race. Like, I can't even wrap my mind around 100 miles.
That's a lot.
But I also know, like, if I set the goal and I work at it, I know because I did it for a marathon and you just keep doing it. So, like, what advice can you give people on how to kind of, like, build that grit? Like, how do you push through when you are faced with adversity, when you are faced with hard times, especially for an extended period of time? And I use the running analogy because I'm sure, how long did 100 miles take you? Like, that's a long time.
Geez. Depending on the race and kind of how I felt, it can take, the very first one I did took 29 hours, which obviously is not fast, but then again, you're running 100 miles. So, I mean, it's 100 miles. It doesn't matter. Or it can take me 23-ish hours. It really just kind of depends, like time-wise, but let's see, and anything, as you know, like during a race, and especially marathons, any running distance, things can go wrong, and you kind of have to decide like how bad is this thing that's going wrong. So it could be, if it's something like super detrimental that could like cause like I don't know, injury or harm, okay, obviously don't keep going. But something that like, okay, push past like certain elements, like, okay, you're tired, you can keep going, like figure out how to adjust what you're doing to keep going. I guess keep moving forward. And that's a tattoo that I have on my wrist too, is just keep moving forward. But another thing, let's see. And like knowing that you can do, like, and kind of keep telling yourself that you can do hard things, like you can accomplish this. And I guess it's all about like positive mindset, because I would say a lot of running too is more mental than it is physical.
Mm.
Because once you run like 20 miles, you can run a marathon, you can run an ultra. I'd even argue that if you can run 20 miles, you could probably run 100 miles too, because it's all mental after a certain point.
Yeah.
And you kind of just have to keep telling yourself, like, keep moving forward, keep going, you can keep doing this. And when it gets tough, yeah, just keep telling yourself, like, I can do this, I can do this. Because the minute your mind starts to go on that negative route, it can derail your entire race. And I've been there, done that. I've had that negative mindset where I'm like, well, this is terrible, I can't do this anymore. Well, the rest of my race suffers because I'm in a bad mood. If you're in a good mood, you can push past a lot of stuff and kind of like train yourself to keep going. Kind of like that growth mindset where you can tell yourself that like something is good, or kind of trying to think of how, like, a good way to describe that too. But like a negative mindset won't get you anywhere with running, or even with like life too, I guess. And having a more positive mindset on things. So yeah.
That's what Trisha has shared with me, is like, it's all about your mindset, because again, I don't run anywhere. And so I'm looking at you guys and I'm like, how are you doing these things? And I'm very like sarcastic and, cynicism, and, I'm just that person. And Trisha's very rainbows and unicorns and things like that. But, Trisha too, you've shared that you have partners, and like when you don't have a partner, you've got things in your ears, like you're listening to God's word, you're listening to a sermon. So like that was my next question, Stephanie, is like, what are you, when you're running 100 miles, like, is it just your voice in your head? Are you listening to something? Like, what do you like to put in your ears when you're trying to push through these really big things that you're doing?
Typically, let's see. Sometimes I listen to music. Sometimes I don't. I would say most of the time I probably don't listen to music. I will just kind of like either talk to myself, or if anyone's on the trail with me, then I kind of just. Charlotte's got a kid microphone that's making my voice echo. But I said, like, a lot of the time it's just kind of me and like whatever voice isn't going on in my head. So. Yeah, like you kind of talk to yourself, and this probably sounds kind of crazy, actually.
Makes
but
sense
if you're talking
to
yourself, like, yeah, whatever voice you have going on in your own head, it better be a good one because, yeah, like I said, if it's a negative voice you got going on in your head, like then you could just ruin your entire race. That's why like it kind of talking to yourself or like I guess thinking about like happier scenarios and stuff like that can kind of help you too. So like thinking maybe like good times or I don't know, thinking about your kids, thinking about like just something, maybe a vacation, something fun, or like being able to see your family at the end of a race. That's another thing too. Like just thinking about stuff like that. So like thinking about something positive helps. Listening to like maybe like your favorite music, favorite podcast, even like a book, that could help you. I like a lot of times I don't listen to music because sometimes it can kind of, I don't know, kind of not confuse me or like not mess me up. But yeah, I kind of like just prefer just running or walking in like silence or if I find somebody, I'll just kind of like have a conversation with them.
I commend you guys for being able to talk and run at the same time.
That's when I do all of my venting sessions.
I know, like we're on the Stairmaster at Crunch in the morning and she's going blah, 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 and I'm like, but all good things. But so we've covered work, we've covered family. Now we want to know like self-care. So like when you are done running friggin' 100 miles, like what are some like top 3 things that you would say you absolutely have to do to make sure that you take care of you, put your oxygen mask on first to make sure that you could be the best mom, you could be the best teacher, you could be the best runner? What are those 3 things?
I would say, and this is probably based on experience, like my own experience too, making sure you prioritize rest, like your rest days, and telling yourself that it is completely okay to take a day off. You can take a day off of running, you can take a day off of working out. Taking that day off and like recharging and resting it does a lot more than people think it does. Like it's okay to take that time off and just rest, recharge, get back to where you're needing to go. So I think making sure you rest, like prioritizing that. And that's based on like my own experience too, and going like go, 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 go until you burn out. And then you're like, wow, I need to rest. I'm tired. Or even sitting down, taking a break for a little bit. It's okay to do those things. So I think that's probably the most important. Making sure that you're not only working on working out or running, that you're doing other things too. So doing other things like is just important as like the running and the working out itself. So making sure you're doing other stuff too. Could be coloring, reading a book, watching a movie. That's kind of some stuff that I like to do too. Playing a game, going for a walk or a hike without any sort of other expectation, just kind of just doing it just to do it.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. I think that's important to do.
I love that. Yeah, having that mental break of just no consequences, no expectations, just chill, mind break. Super important. I like that.
Yeah, for
Very
sure.
good. I like coloring too.
Yeah.
I like colors.
I like drawing pictures. Nothing like crazy because I'm not that good. My son is really good at drawing. Me, I like to draw just like shapes and color them in.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like to overlap the shapes like the 90s and like, you have a purple triangle and where it overlaps the blue circle, it's yellow.
Yes, I like to do that too. I have a couple cool drawings I've done over the years with stuff like that with shapes, kind of like abstract art is what I like to do.
Yeah. Perfect.
Love it. All right, you get to ask your fun questions.
Fun questions. Okay, so before we wrap, I have fun questions that I like to ask. So, my favorite one to ask is I want to know who's your favorite villain and why? Any villain. Doesn't have to be comic book, movie. It could be literature. It could be political. Trisha always picks the same person every single time. But this is a question that I found really interesting when my friend Bevan went to the police academy, and they said it's a lot more revealing than to ask who's your favorite hero.
Okay. Now, what was the beginning of the question? It kind of like my connection kind of cut out. So what was the first part of it again? Sorry.
Who's your favorite villain?
Ooh.
Bad guy.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Let's see.
See? Everybody could be like, Superman, Batman's my favorite hero, but...
Exactly. Favorite villain. Ooh. I mean, I go back to like, I'm looking at like some Disney movies I have on my shelf right now.
There you go. Talk to me.
Ooh, let's see. Maybe like favorite villain, maybe Jafar from Aladdin, or maybe even like like go to Toy Story and you have Sid. Even though Sid's not really like villain, he just kind of traumatizes toys. But maybe Sid because it's like, because maybe Sid from Toy Story because Sid's obviously like really troubled himself and he's had a lot of stuff happen like that we don't know about, but you can tell like he's got quite a past and he's been traumatized himself and he's probably been through something like pretty bad. And so he's traumatizing toys as like a way to like get out. And it's like Sid's obviously very troubled and needs some help. So maybe I kind of like him. And it's like I feel like he wouldn't necessarily be bad. He could, if he got like maybe the help he needs, he would be different. I don't know. I kind of like, I guess Sid.
That's one we haven't heard before. I like that. And I can see like maybe he just needs to join your running group with the other kids and just get some love and check out Fernando the Space Pickle and just have a good time.
Yeah, like Sid, I feel like Sid needs somebody to love him, and he clearly is not happening for him. So I guess probably Sid.
That's one we definitely haven't heard before.
Yeah.
That was a good answer. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I always like to ask if you could go back and give teenage you advice, what would it be?
Ooh, this is a good one. So, I mean, I'm going to try to keep this brief. Okay. So, don't let people take advantage of you just because you are nice. You can be a nice person. You can be kind and respectful without letting people take advantage of you and walking all over you. That's one thing I would say to myself. And you can have boundaries. You can be nice and have boundaries. And I guess just because you think outside the box and do things maybe differently than other people do, doesn't mean that you are wrong. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It just means that you do things differently. And don't let people bully you or tease you for that. Like, it's okay to be who you are. And that's one thing I've learned too, like over the years, sometimes being like picked on for stuff. Sort of like being picked on for stuff for being different and stuff like that. So like, don't stop being who you are just because other people don't like it, I guess is another thing. And then it's okay to not follow, the crowd. So I guess that's another good one. Like, just continue to be who you are and don't follow the crowd.
Those are all so good.
Those are all such powerful messages.
Yeah, for sure.
So amazing.
Well, thank you so much, Stephanie, for joining us. Is there
great to
anything
meet
else
you.
that I missed or I skipped over that you want to share with the world before we sign out?
I don't know. I think I've probably covered it all. I could probably keep talking to you guys for hours.
I know. This was fantastic.
I think I'll probably just leave it at that, or I guess it's completely okay to be who you are, and I'll leave it at that. Like, it's okay to be who you are and to like the things that you like and to do the things that you do. And even if other people may not like it, like, it's okay to be who you are, and you are like, you're good enough as you are. You're like, you matter in this world, and you are a good enough person, like, just as you are. You don't need to change, even if other people don't like it.
That's such a powerful message, especially right now, in the culture that our kids are growing up in, where everybody's trying to be the next, social media influencer for whatever reason. So that I love that a lot. I love it.
Yeah. So thank you so much to our listeners for tuning in. Thank you, Stephanie, for being with us.
Yes.
Thank you, Kylie, for always being my amazing co-host.
Boom.
Woo. All right. If you like the show, make sure you share it with somebody else. Somebody else needs to hear these tips, these resources, and know they're not alone in the world.
Yes. And we drop fresh content every single Thursday. So slap that subscribe button, share the show, and come back next week for some more Elite Life.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today on the Elite Life Podcast with Trish and Kylie. Don't forget to share this episode with a friend so we can keep delivering you more fantastic insights on grit, grace, and growth. Stay connected with us on Instagram and Facebook, where we'll keep the ideas flowing to help you build a life you love and leave a legacy you can be proud of. Until next time.